Hi, Shri. I think good. So I think we can talk about what are your goals for the coming quarter and how do you want to plan that. Yes, please go ahead, Shri. So what have been identified as your goals for the quarter and how do you plan to address them? So you can let me know what challenges you're facing and what is the expectation from the organization about your goal setting and your current role in particular, and we can try
Yeah,
to address that.
yeah, sure. Hi, Kiran. Yeah, thanks a lot for the short notice to join this meeting and helping me to set these priorities. Yep. So one thing is basically, as I'm actually solution architect responsible for the integrations for the SaaS platform, wherein which there is an expectation from the deliverable. What are the announcements or the new requirement that are coming. Along with that, I also need to deliver some minor some kind of KPIs in terms of like operations team, how to improve the performance of the application in terms of like any gaps that we have, any like ETAs or the lead times that we can improve for the PO purchase orders that are actually interfacing from the external systems into SaaS platform, and the same way like SaaS platform to downstream applications that are going. How to to minimize this number of errors, how we can better efficiently way of utilizing the platform, any new features that we can add as automations, so that it will reduce the time that is users are actually spending on the platform in terms of submitting the purchase orders or creating the requisitions or approving the invoices or creating invoices or approving invoices. What are the different workflows that we have as part of the invoice process flow? All those steps, that where we have seen the gaps, how we can actually improve the process from the business and as well as from the technical point of view.
So when you say ETA, between the time when intent has come into the system till the time it's completely ready, so you have to look at both the business wise as well as how much time it is taking across in the applications. So typically, what is the amount of time it is currently taking for it to be cleared?
Yeah, it's a good question. You don't have the statistics there at this
Yeah,
point of
so I
time,
think
Kiran. Maybe
what
I
you
need
can
to
do
check
is you
and come
can
back.
do a
Yeah.
Kanban diagram across the multiple blocks from start to finish. So have a start block, finish block. What are the intermediate dependencies? You put those blocks saying that this much amount of time is spent in invoicing, this goes to finance, this goes to approval, this goes to the sales team, this goes to purchase team, this is where the orders team, the sales team, and finally, user gets the product or he gets access to that information. So just put all of them and then just put a ballpark time as to how much you are actually spending across each of these layers, business wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And technology wise, also, what is your actually way in which you're actually calculating application test response time across these layers? Does it happen in real time or it is a batched process? So let us
It's
say
a batch. Yeah,
the
some
batch
of the
process.
majority of them batch process, or
Okay.
some of them
So it
actually in
depends on
real
the
time batch.
approval of the previous step. It goes to the next step.
Correct. Yeah, that is where we have a needed of remote approvals that has a dependency on the external systems, like for in case of invoice approval. For certain country has some regulations where we need to get this approval from this so and so government portal, right? It will require the authenticity of the particular information that we receive from the vendors.
Okay.
And then once we have that validated, and the workflow will be going into the next process step or the next workflow. Basically, it might be waiting for the AP, that is account payable team to review that particular invoice process or the invoice document, and then they will basically again approve or reject or bypass the approvers
Okay.
as per the requirement, and it will go into the stage of finally invoice is submitted from the SaaS platform. Once invoice is submitted, it actually goes to the ERPs for the vendors to pay that invoice amount.
Okay, so what you can typically do to make it better is that, as I told you, one is you map out the flow from the start to finish and have the blocks and say how much time it is actually taking across the layers. And also, you just note down, like if indented race, it comes to the invoicing team, invoice goes to sales, sales goes to um, check back with the inventory whether the item is there, shipped, and pre-sales. Like just put a ballpark figure. And if it goes to government approval, so what is the time that the government approval takes to clear the invoice? Just put all those figures across the blocks from start to finish.
Okay.
In a what they call is lean process improvement kind of a diagram. I'll send you some diagrams like
Yeah.
that. So
Okay.
you can actually use those diagrams to depict the workflow and the work in progress. Typically,
Yeah.
where is the bottleneck? So let us say there is the government agency is getting not just from your SaaS company, but from multiple other companies, and maybe that's where the queuing is there. So you can just see which is a place that you can iron out those bottlenecks and make the whole process faster. That kind of stuff. So you can use a lean process workflow diagram to depict that, and
Okay.
you can actually iron out what are the bottlenecks and what are the time consuming activities, redundant activities from that, time wasting activities, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can make it all better. And in terms of application response time management, if something is very slow, but from what you're saying, I think the problem mostly is in the batching and not much in the application per se,
Integration.
because you're not
Real-time
processing.
integration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have any mechanism by which you are actually measuring the application response time actually in your system?
Okay.
Any software that you're using for any tool you're using for making the application system better?
No, no. So far, we don't have anything actually.
Okay. But I think, yeah, your problem is more to do with the fact that it has to go to multiple layers and
Right.
multiple peoples and multiple levels of approval. So basically, you just figure that out, then create a lean process diagram. I'll show you how to create a lean process diagram
Yeah.
with the lead and lag indicators and things like that, and work in progress, and what is the process bottlenecks. So once you iron them out, I think you should be able to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how your strategy should be to fix those kind of bottlenecks and say, okay, now previously it was taking 3 days or 5 days or 10 days to finish from start to finish. Now with our
Yeah.
improved process, it will probably take a day or half a day if everything is in place. And you can also raise what are the external agencies that are contributing to the delay, which is not in your hand also.
Oh, okay.
So that, they understand that it's not only us who is delaying it, but there are other external agencies who are actually causing the delay.
Yeah. Correct.
Got it? So you can actually frame your strategy like that to tackle this goal item.
Okay.
Any other queries?
Yeah. Second one is any technology modernization that I can actually play a role, Kiran? Any suggestions on this
Yeah, so
direction?
basically it depends on what kind of tech stack are you using. You're mostly a Windows guy, no? You said Azure and or Java you're using. Or
No,
it's
no.
a
We use
proprietary software. Okay. So if you're
no.
using a proprietary software,
No. It's basically SaaS platform. We are using for that. We use middlewares, where we for integrating with the ERPs and external applications systems.
okay. So in that,
Right. Um,
yeah, please
what
go ahead. So
is
what are the, according to you, what are the outdated technologies that you're using?
okay? In this process, I'm not sure. Maybe within the SaaS plan that I need to talk about, or it is like a completely on the ecosystem application that we should be targeting about it. I'm not sure that. Basically, develop a roadmap to replace the deprecated and non-strategic platforms with modern strategic solutions in the source to pay space. That is source to procurement.
Yeah, for which what you will need to do is you have to draw a reference architecture currently.
Mm-hmm.
That is your as a state. Whatever is your as a state to for S2P, source to procurement, what are all the components that are required, how much of Microsoft you're using, Azure you're using, third-party SaaS, SAP if you're using some proprietary tools that you're using, put all of them in on a one-page reference architecture and say, this is the database component, this is the business object, this is the middleware, this is the UI, this is the front end, and put all of them on one sheet and say, which of these are old enough to be replaced? So just ask your question, why do we need to replace it? If it's running fine and if it's performing as required, there's no need to replace it. But just ask what is the rationale for you to replace that item. Are you going to get business benefits, technology benefits, speed benefits, application processing benefits, or end user time? What is it? Just because you want to change, don't change anything, because these days, even now, there are mainframe systems which are running perfectly fine for the last 30, 40 years, and there's no need to change them. So just ask them the question, why do you need to change what you need to change? And map out that, then it'll make your decision much easier for you, saying that this is in red, we need to change it. This is in, let us say if Oracle is demanding a lot of license fee for you, and probably you got a cheaper version of MySQL, which does the same job for maybe 1/3 the price of it or 1/4 of the price of it. So then that's a good candidate for replacing. And similarly, your SaaS product, whichever you're using, if there are other freewares available or other paid solutions which are probably remarkably cheaper than your current one, then you can replace it with that, which has, but you have to have a feature to feature mapping and see what is doing and probably some customization, all of that. So if it's, and then what is on-prem, what is off-prem. So if you're paying for servers and maintenance a lot, then it might be a good idea to move it all completely SaaS-based, on the cloud kind of a model. So you can actually go through various strategies to cut down on your cost. It could be technology-wise, cost-wise. It could be the best technology out there, whichever is. So let us say that you don't get any more developers in some technology that you had initially written, and it's very difficult to maintain that product. Like, you don't get people to develop or maintain the product anymore. Then in that case, that's also an ideal candidate for you to replace it. So let us say that it's an outdated version of JavaScript that you are supporting, or it's an outdated version of some C++ library that you need to support it. And in the market, there are very few people who have that skill. Or it is SAP, ABAP, some very old version of ABAP, people are going to support it, and you don't have that thing. Then you can say that that is the criteria for me to eliminate that product and bring something in place of it. Also see the cost benefit analysis. Look at what is the cost versus what is the benefit, how much I'm going to spend, how much I'm going to gain from it. And based on that, you can plan your strategy. So these should be the points in which you should be addressing your goals.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah, that answers my questions. Thanks, Kiran. And then the second point is support assessment and establishment of the strategy to transform the digital ecosystems. Right? It can be ERP, it can be a PLM, MDM, whatever it is in the domain that I'm part of that, right? The supplier, the supply chain.
Yeah, so that is actually a very big ticket item because it means a lot of things. MDM means master data management, then across other digital systems means how they are interfacing with other systems. You have to see how much of digital transformation you can use in those products and solutions, how much of architecting is involved, how much of build versus buy is involved. So you have to be very clear on what is the landscape that you're responsible, because there'll be a lot of people in the company who will be owning different things. So that regarding that item, you have to talk to your management and your boss especially, and get clarity on what are you responsible for in that big picture of things.
Okay.
Because you cannot be doing everything and everything. So what is that? What are the interface touch points that you're responsible for? What are the interface touch points that you're responsible for? And then based on that, you can actually plan it, in such a way that you are addressing those parts of the interfaces which are in your purview. That you cannot be attacking the whole thing because your portfolio is not that big. to be able to do that. So you just get a clarity of what is that you need to do when you say digital initiatives or digital interfaces there. What are the systems that you're responsible? What are the applications that you're responsible? What are the architectures that you're responsible? Based on that, you can actually tailor make the requirements.
Okay, perfect. Sure. That I'll get the clarity. Yeah, good one. Then implement any new RFQ tool for the direct procurement. In
Yeah.
that
So for
space,
which, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, in that space, as a solution architect, will I have any scope to play a role here?
Yeah. So what you should do is you should see what is the existing tool doing well or not doing well,
Yeah.
understand its strength and weaknesses. So is it delaying orders being fulfilled? Is there an issue with the payment gateway? Is there an issue with the invoicing part of it? Is there an issue with issuing a letter of credit with it, or is there an issue with processing once the orders are coming to the system? Just find out all the pain points by talking to your end user customers, your system testers, your application testers, integration testers. How easy is it to deploy? How easy is it to install it? How easy is it to use it? All kinds of stuff. So basically, look at it end to end. Though it may be a perfectly working software, perfectly working does not mean that it is running the way it should be running, like a customer. Because there are two cars, and obviously, for instance, it's a I don't want to pit two companies against one another, but if you buy something on Amazon, you feel it's easier to, the whole workflow is much easier. But if you do it on Flipkart, it is not that easy. I would say the return is not that friendly, or maybe things like that. How are you
Okay.
taking care of the entire journey? How it works end to end is what you need to look at. So you just figure out all the problem areas of your product, talk to customers, talk to user bases, talk to people who are using it, who are deploying it, talk to your solution architects, your professional services team, business team, product strategy team, get to know what are the pain points, and also look at what your competition is doing and what you are not doing.
Okay.
So what is that your competition is doing in terms of try to look at who are the key players in your business, what are the products that they are coming out with, and how they are tackling the issues and what features they are bringing in, what is that you are having, what they don't have, what you have, and like do a comparison. Then you'll come to know, okay, what are the features worth spending money on, and then you can actually give suggestions and ask your management that I have this idea, I want to drive it, so can I have some resources, and then you start talking and make requirements and drive that initiative forward. And if it becomes a success, then obviously you get a lot of mileage from it, you got a lot of visibility from it.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Then the next point is incorporate responsible AI into enterprise applications in the source to pay space again.
Yeah. Okay. So just you have to Google Gen AI users in source to pay areas. So you'll find a lot of places where Gen AI is being used, how it can be used, probably to reduce support functions, operational functions, bug fixes, automating responses, automating the workflow, how you can actually make it better, like automating responses, how to track leads, how to close leads, how to get new leads, how to automate the payment processing, the payment gateway. So there could be multiple things that you can actually use the Gen AI tool to do for you. But see what can be automated, what need not be automated, things like that.
Okay.
So there could be a lot of things that can be automated, but just look at the human angle also. So sometimes in a hotel you can automate everything, but the people still say we don't want a robo sitting in the front desk and asking people to check in into the hotel. We still want a human being there. So look at the human versus automation angle. To what extent you can automate stuff, what extent you want to keep it manual, and then you can take a call on that.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So those kind of ideas you can actually bring in, and you can actually do a quick search on Gen AI uses for source to pay. You'll get multiple ideas on that front. and see what your competition is doing, what others are doing, and look at the amount of support that you can get from LLMs or Gen AI tools for that.
Okay, good. Yeah, that makes actually clear my roadmap, how to where I can actually play a role, how I can help these priorities from my perspective, right? Yeah, thank you.
Sure, I think if you're done, we can actually end. I'll stop the recording.
Yeah, sure, that's correct. Yeah, thanks, Kiran.